This is Curtis coming at you from AcePerHead Studios once again to do our final wrap-up coverage, most likely, of Week 4 of the 2021 season. I'd wanted to dig into some other teams. I wanted to look at Mac's game. The last couple of weeks I've been wanting to do it. Joe Burrow, I've been wanting to do his coverage since Week 1. I'm going to try to get to both those players, really dig in because I like them both. Wanted to do the Bills' offensive line. But it really hasn't come about. Part of that's my fault as far as learning to get a schedule going and discipline. Also, we got a bit of a rock star film guy. He got an invite to Mr. Olympia, to coverage Mr. Olympia. It was a great opportunity. So the last 2 weeks he's been, really busy, which is understandable. So I haven't been able to do exactly what I want. So this is going to be my final coverage. It's going to be, again, on the Dolphins offense. I had wanted to do this also with a reflection of the Dolphins defense, a similar coverage to show you that, yeah, we have struggles on offense. And I'm going to dig into that. It's going to be a total dig in to the Dolphins offense from players, moves, all this other stuff. But the defense is very promising. And I really want to touch on it. I want to get a little bit before I move on to the offense. There is some issues on defense, clearly. But you look at the rise of Christian Wilkins, and he is rising. You look at Sealer, Wilkins, Agba, Van Ginkel. These guys are star players or verging on it. Yes, Christian Wilkins. I want to do like a close-up video film study of his play. It's very, very impressive. He's rapidly raising the ceiling in my eyes. Obviously, Nick Needham, there's a lot of good stuff on defense. The return of Davis this week is going to be a big deal. Not saying we're going to win, but you're going to see the complexion of this defense. It's a defense's ability to do a lot more stuff with Raekwon Davis in the center. Now, Xavier Howard just went on injury report and was limited. What does that mean? I don't know. Byron Jones, he's limited. He's kind of battling something. This is not good going against Brady, obviously. But, on a positive note, Noah might get his opportunity for redemption. But I just want to leave that in your mind, Dolphins fans, because the reality is, whatever happens, next year you're going to be a fan, hopefully, of the Miami Dolphins, and they're going to be here. They're going to have these players, they're going to have this talent, and we're going to move forward. And in a real evaluation, you don't want to get locked on like a fan, like this is a win or lose situation, because that's not the reality. Reality is you have players, you have assets. What assets do you have? What liabilities do you have? In a true evaluation, you have to be rational. So, yes, there's not happy stuff going on right now in totality. It could change. I think it might. I think there's a possibility of that. How high that ceiling of that changes, that's a different story. Anyway, there is good stuff. If you're truly a fan and an evaluator, you have to also hold on to the good while you pine and rage over the bad. So on that note, I'm going to stick you with some more bad here with a little bit of good. So let's dig deep into the offense, okay? And GAWA, because I really read the comments. I'm trying to get to them all. I like having discourse, talk. GAWA is a commenter, and he worked for BBC. And he spoke about how I need to really refine my storytelling sometimes. I get off like a teacher. I start talking one way, and there's something else over here. I get over here. Sometimes I go all over the place. And I can feel that sometimes. So I'm going to try to really dial it in. So GAWA, thank you. All right, so there's a narrative coming out, and the narrative was, is, Brian Flores is culpable. He's really the main man responsible. He's not just a defensive coordinator. He is the head coach, and the offense woes and troubles are on him. I'm going to dial in at the end on the coaching staff thing again, but for those who maybe not caught some of my prior videos, check out, is Brian Flores a coach cutter? And it will help give some context of why the coaching moves were made and how I believe through the evidence that the most crucial ones weren't on him. So keep that in your mind as you might say Flores is responsible. And I'm going to dial in a little piece of that at the end. So Barry Jackson had said to Austin Jackson, you know, all these flipping around of offensive line coordinators, you think the different techniques is giving you problems. And he goes, well, that's above my pay grade. So he's not answering the question, but he knows. But this narrative push of coaching change, and Brian Flores is being pushed to the center as prime responsibility. Now, this might be true, but is it true? You have to be rational when you deal with this. So I want to start off with there are certain things we're not going to know. We're never going to know as far as personnel moves, who wanted what. Sometimes you get little snippets and seeds. So we're not going to fully understand. But when we go over the offense, and then next week I'll do the defense, you'll see that the success rate and rationality of how we approach the defense is totally different than how we've approached the offense. And that's curious. And again, at the end, I'll get into Flores, okay, the coach cutter, just a small bit. So right now, and I want to thank David King. It was kind of like lurking in the back of my mind, but he hit it like on the head. Thank you, David. He said, how can you trust a staff that releases Ereck Flowers when he's one of the top linemen in the league, and you're paying him $8 million a year? You're paying $8 million left of his salary. So Ereck Flowers, last year, I think PFF ranked him around 29th or 28th, 27th. But he was a stabilizing influence. And you could see how that stabilizing influence had some help for Austin Jackson. Now, right now, Ereck Flowers is ranked 15th in the league with the Washington offense. He's playing very well. And we're paying $8 million of his salary. Okay, so maybe the concept was we thought we could get an upgrade with DJ Fluker. Maybe we get an upgrade with DJ Fluker, who's cheaper, and I really did like his possibility. But I'm going to use another quote from another commenter because these are great quotes. These comments, you guys' comments are awesome. It's from Don DeJula. I hope I'm not screwing it up. He talked about the Dolphins suffer from poor risk management. So let's say, I don't think it makes sense. You move Ereck Flowers because you want a cheaper option. Maybe you want a quick one-year stopgap because you got some rookies behind him. And this year, so some point next year, you want to bring a rookie in. Maybe they thought that with Eichenberg or something. I don't know. But they got rid of Flowers before Eichenberg. Whatever. It's poor risk management. Right now, the evaluation is a poor evaluation, poor risk management, because you have neither Ereck Flowers nor DJ Fluker. And you got this where you actually had to ship him out and swap 7th-round picks and pay the bulk of his salary, and he's playing better than any offensive lineman you have on the roster currently. This, to me, this is going to be my opinion, there's something more here than meets the eye. And again, this is opinion. If you go back, there were players on the offense especially that were very unhappy with the insertion of Tua when he didn't know the playbook, and probably were very loyal to Steve Marshall and Shane Gailey. Again, you look at Gesicki. He still doesn't have a contract, and he's one of the best players on our team. Who was his best friend? Who did he love more than anything? Fitzpatrick. And probably Gailey, because he actually got to see use. His career took off last year. So I don't know if this is the case. This is just pure opinion. But the bottom line is we paid to get rid of Ereck Flowers, and he's 15th overall. Okay, so we're downgraded. This is not a knock against Jean Pierre. Steve Marshall is just a way better coach because he's got way more experience. It's clear. Doesn't mean Jean Pierre's potential isn't high. But Jean Pierre now is producing, when we go over the players, less than Steve Marshall. But again, why is Jean Pierre here? Why is Steve Marshall gone? This is football. It's Game of Thrones. It's as cutthroat on the practice field to get a starting job as is in the background with the coaching staff and the GMs and the owners and everything else, and even the media. So you have to always keep it's transformer time, baby. It's more than meets the eye. Okay, so the good news I want to start off with is Hunt, when you watch his tape from week 1 to week 4, is slowly trending up. And I think Jean Pierre is going to get redeemed to a certain degree. I think he would be redeemed way more if we actually had a coherent scheme, game plan, and we benched Jackson. But that's me. But even with Jackson, I think that would be, if we schemed better, he would be better. Because he played better last year. Not much, but a little bit. So Hunt's slowly on a rise. He's at a PFF grade. Is loose. This is just a general metric so we can kind of put it in our heads. I don't totally agree with PFF. I love PFF. They do film study up the yin-yang. So you have to, whether you take their system of metrics to how they calculate it all out and come to their equations, that's for a debate. But they do a lot of film study, and it's a good general viewpoint to get to a quick point expediently. So Hunt's 54.5 now. Last year he was 65.8. And he moved back into right guard. He's in a very poor system. A huge changeover of techniques, which is it is. When you start changing techniques and coaches, there's instability. But he is trending up. His run game, which we thought was going to be his specialty, is trending up. So this is good news. Now, on a bad news, Jackson in 2020, most people don't realize, by PFF standards, he was rated the 75th tackle. It's like the bottom. I think maybe it was 78. He's currently 67th. Last year, he was 52.3. Now he's 48.4. Okay? The kind of good news is he has a 66 run blocking grade compared to like his, 30-something pass block grade. But again, you have to go back to the current 3 OCs and say, what's their mindset? Right now, he's had 52 run blocks compared to 157 pass blocks. If this guy is a guy you're forcing in and you want to make successful, why aren't you putting him more in situations where he can have success, i.e. run the football? People don't get it. Like, what happened to Jackson? Everybody knows this. This is going to be everybody. You're in a job. And you come into that job, it's new, it's hard. And you get more than you can handle. What do you have to do? You have to take shortcuts. These shortcuts, you're going to have to eat through break, maybe not do the check you're supposed to and just pass things through. Anything to stay afloat. These might get you through, but they're bad habits. You're not forming good protocols and good habits. Last year, Jackson's play didn't look like this. As far as the holding and everything, he had much better habits. And the reason for this was, for all the people that say Shane Gailey sucks, and they don't really realize Steve Marshall, what he was bringing to the table, they understood their plays and were able to create a framework. Again, this was the number one offense the Dolphins had in like 25 years. It was the most points or yards, I can't remember which. It was the most prolific offense in one degree. I should have wrote it down. I just remembered it now. I forgot to write it down. I just remembered it. In like 25 years. So he didn't suck. But he was able to put his players in position to accentuate their strengths and shield them. And Ereck Flowers also played a part of this. So why isn't Jackson Why are they running the football more? Okay, question. Because you're not really helping your player out. So he's building bad habits. Eichenberg, 68th, 44.9. Now, because they're putting him, Jackson, in a weak situation, the pass blocking, they've got to bring all the help over to help him and leave their rookie Eichenberg on right guard with almost no help ever. What is this doing for him? You have, according to PFF standards, the 68th and 67th best tackles on your team, and you run the football, pass the football in the yin-yang. Eichenberg's got a 44.9 and Jackson's 48.4. So you're trying to force Jackson in, and you're doing the same thing to Eichenberg that you've done to Jackson. Put him in positions that don't help them succeed. This has got to stop. Somehow, some way, this offensive staff needs to figure it out. And again, goes back to Flores. But why are these OCs here? Really, do you know? Have you really thought it through? Okay? Davis, this guy's trash. Get him out. Guy's playing on a bad knee. They leave him naked when a double with two ends on the side. With like 3 seconds left, they snap the football. He gets beat, Tua gets knocked out, and Davis sucks. Get him out of here. Now, they play him at guard where he played at the tail end of the year, and he's doing really good. He's doubled his pass blocking grade. Why are you building your offensive line like this? Why do you continue to put your players in situations that are not conducive to accentuate their talents? Davis is a good player, good swingman. He could be a good left guard. He could be a good right guard. Not great, but good. But you're screwing him like you're screwing Jackson and like you're screwing Eichenberg. Okay? So you got Greg Mans. Now they got Austin Reeder at center. Mans did okay. A little weak in the run game. Not bad. Can't complain. Austin Reeder had a very, very good year. It'd be interesting to see how he pans out. And then there's Robert Jones in the background. Okay, I like Robert Jones. I got to do a little more studies on him, but he really flashed for me. But again, how did we build this thing? 2021 draft. Kendrick Green, center, rookie, 13th best in the league right now. Dieter, 3 seasons with this guy, and he's 18th. He was 18th. Bills, starting tackle, Spencer Brown. He's 33rd in the league. They took him in like the 3rd or 4th round. 93rd overall pick. I wrote it down. Smart guy finally. 66.9 PFF grade. It's nearly 20 points higher than either Eichenberg or Austin Jackson. It's not a knock on either players. It's both. It's player and framework. Rashawn Slater, 7th best in the league. I love Waddle. But what if you had the 7th best tackle in the league? How would this offensive line work? And look, how could you could put Slater by himself on the left side. You'd have Davis on the right side, if that's the way you wanted to go, and help him. And then you could move, you'd have Hunt here, and, maybe you had Ereck Flowers, who you kept at left guard. I mean, what would this offensive line look like in this offense? Isaiah Prince, remember him? Gone. He's over with the Bengals, and his career is starting to see a rise. He's actually playing okay, limited, but he's starting to find something. He's playing better than some of our guys. Ben Moore Jr., 129th overall, 4th round. He's playing tackle for the Steelers at 56.5. He's better than both of our tackles. Again, a little bit player, a little bit framework. Ben Cleveland, guard, 44th overall, rookie, 59.3. These guys that were taken way later, playing better. Some of it's players, some of it's the framework, but all of it's not good for us. Something is drastically wrong. But did we have these same conversations last year with Gailey and Steve Marshall when they had less talent? Not really. Think about it. Tua took over week 7 with a bad hip, still not able, and not knowing a playbook. That's serious context for whatever you think about Gailey's system last year. You go back and this guy schemed up, which is very difficult for offensive coordinators, to call up wins. And he called up like 5 touchdowns on great play calls. But again, why is he and Marshall gone? Is it because Flores? Well, I'll get into that. All right, so that's our offensive line. To me, that's the key. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the key. If your offensive line's good, everything else has a chance. If it's not, it's not. But you got rid of Ereck Flowers. You went a receiver over a lineman. You've made bad moves by putting guys in wrong positions. Anyway, I'll keep going. Tight ends. We've got 5 tight ends on the roster. Gesicki, 15th best in the league, and he's not signed. Why? Why? He's got more production than Waddle. Not saying he's better than Waddle, but you invested 2 first-round draft picks on Waddle when you got Gesicki, and Gesicki's not signed. He's going to go someplace and be phenomenal. When we got Gesicki, the Patriots traded out. They wanted Gesicki, in my opinion. He's a good player. Why is he not signed? We have Parker and Gesicki. You can see they make plays. Did we need to spend 2 first-round draft picks on Waddle or get a line? We could have got Slater at 12 and still had a first-round pick for next year and an extra 3rd. And then we wouldn't have had to move up and spend a 2nd and 3rd on Eichenberg. But if we wanted to, we get into that. Okay? I mean, one last point. Cosme. Sam Cosme on Washington was taking 5-6 picks after Eichenberg. He's playing excellent. That's another player we missed on that we didn't have to trade up for. So anyway, keep going. So you got 5 tight ends. Shaheen, you spent big money on. He's 43rd. A little surprising. PFF gives him a 71 run blocking grade. I guess maybe what I see is him missing a lot of blocks, but, whatever. I didn't realize he's 6'5", 270. But again, you have 5 tight ends. Gesicki and Shaheen are pretty much the same player. Why are you doubling up player's skill set? You got Smythe, who you spent a 4th-round pick on. He's 68th overall. And then you got Ethan Carter, who he's on the roster when you could have had somebody else on the roster, and he's only got 30 reps. And then you spend a 3rd-round pick on Hunter Long. He's only got 20 reps. When Tommy Tremble was there just after him, 47th overall right now in the league for tight end, and he's got 87 snaps, and he would have been different. He was the run blocker, pass blocker that you need. You pay Gesicki, get Tommy Tremble, and maybe you got Shaheen and Smythe, and you're good to go. Hunter Long might turn to be a good player, but what does it do for this year? It's 5 tight ends, and nobody can do what you need is block really well. And you're not really using Gesicki to his full advantage. This is just like a mess when you think about it from a design standpoint. So then you go to receivers. We just moved Grant out for a 6th-round pick. Very expensive. Everybody knew he was going to do this. Could have got rid of him. Why? You have all these tight ends and receivers, and they're falling like flies and not doing their job. So you got rid of Grant. Wilson's expensive, and you get nothing out of him. Fuller missed week 1, week 2. Some good plays, but now he's got a broken finger. You got Parker, who, he'd be a star on anybody's team if he could stay healthy, which he has pretty much for the most part. And Waddle, who's a good player, but did this team need to spend 2 picks on receivers when you can't throw the football? I like Waddle. I really do. I think this guy could be a stud. On another team, this guy would be like having an epic season. But he can't because we don't have the right build for him. And we overpaid. And, you got Williams, Hollins, all these receivers and tight ends, and you're really getting bupkis for most of it because you don't have an offensive line. You don't have a right system around him. All right, so then, well, I'm not going to deal in quarterbacks. Running backs. Okay, what happened to Gaskin? Myles Gaskin was supposed to have a big season. Now you're seeing lots of Brown. Why are we seeing Brown? Gaskin sucks, right? No. Pass block. Oh, his pass blocking sucks. No. Gaskin is an assist chip blocker in the backfield. He's light in the pants. He's not meant to take on blockers one-on-one. But why does he have to take blockers one-on-one? Because the front can't handle it. Jackson always needs to be helped. There's some missed blocks because everybody knows we're passing all the time, and he gets blown up. Under Gailey, his pass blocking was 75, according to PFF, 71. This year, it's like 20-something because he's being put in position where he's the guy. People miss their blocks, and he's got to take a linebacker or a lineman rushing in free. So you bring in Brown, who's much bigger. But Gaskin, up until last week, he only had 2 carries this week, but prior to that, he was making people miss in the same level of Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, Javonte Williams, who I really wanted, we should have probably got, and Dalvin Cook. That's how good he was playing. But he only got 2 carries. And now, because we're forcing Jackson in and because we have all this disarray in the front on the offensive line, Gaskin's career is being derailed because he can't be an assist chip blocker. He's got to be the primary. Is Flores responsible? Okay, we're going to bring it back here. Almost there. Grant, we're paying 1.7 of his contract for like a 6-round pick. You know what I'm saying? Like 4. So you screwed up when you're trading your guy who you're paying 1.7 for 4 weeks in and you only get a 6-round pick. Matt Scurry, we got rid of $400K. Ereck Flowers, $8 million. That's not on top of all the defenders that we got rid of. There's so much money being wasted. And is Brian Flores? Maybe. Maybe he's like, get rid of this guy. I don't know. But this is a disaster on offense. From GM, the design of the drafting, the actual picks, and then the application. But again, did we see this with Gailey? And is Brian Flores a coach cutter? And I'm going to deal with this one last time, likely, probably more. If Brian Flores, a young coach who has 20, 30 years ahead of him in some way, somehow managed to get Shane Gailey and Steve Marshall on his staff, in his fraternity of coaches, which means everybody talks, everybody knows what's really going on. He managed to get him in the den of snakes on Miami Dolphins to help him out. Is he going to come out and say, if I was to his father, I wouldn't have started, and a week later suddenly go, you know what? He is ready. Tua is starting, and he's not going to tell Gailey, which means he's screwing over a well-respected, well-renowned coach who's then going to let everybody know in his fraternity, this guy's either insane or an idiot. Either way, he's disrespectful. Don't trust him. He is a den of snakes. This guy will never find a staff again. So if Brian Flores did decide to just, in a whim, put Tua in without being forced from above, not consulting Gailey, he's an absolute idiot or a madman. All Brian Flores had to do was go to Gailey and say, what do you think? I'm thinking about putting Tua in. A week earlier I said he wasn't ready. A little playbook issue thing here. But I really think for the long-term vision of this team, we need to put Tua in. Gailey would be like, no, that's crazy, man. This kid's not healthy. He doesn't know the playbook. We're like, we're starting to really take off. Shane, I totally understand. But I just feel that as the head coach, this kid's ready. Let's give it a shot. That's all he had to do. And not surprise him. Not say, hey, we're putting Tua in. It makes no sense. So, to me, this is just another intellectual exercise to create the framework that Flores is either an absolute madman, total moron, or he is a dupe being forced in to being the dupe through obedience from somebody higher up. And if that's the case, it creates the framework, the perspective, the context of why we're seeing a disparity between the offense staff and the application and the purchasing of the players compared to that of the defense. And again, for those who want to say he's the head coach, he was a rookie. We understood this. He had Caldwell for a reason. He brought Gailey in for a reason. Obviously, he needs training and help, just like any coach. This really removes, for me, Brian Flores as the primary culprit, unless he's an absolute idiot or total madman. So this is Curtis. Thank you for staying to the end. I do see us trending up despite this ugly situation on offense with the coordinators and those. But all arrows keep pointing back to Grier. He's the one who's purchasing. I'm sure he has a higher degree of responsibility of picking the offensive players compared to the defensive players. And when you look at this trend, there's a strong trend towards defense in every aspect being successful compared to the offense. So I do believe there's hope. And I keep feeling like Flores is now getting pushed farther and farther, higher on the pedestal to get shot down by the media. And I think this will end up being a detriment to the Miami Dolphins franchise. To me, the only person that I can confirm in my heart should stay is Brian Flores. This does not include Ross, does not include Grier, and I'm uncertain about Allen. But anyway, thanks for staying to the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Comments mean the most to me. This is my opinion in certain parts as far as Flores. But the rest of it, it seems like it's pretty clear. But I want to hear your thoughts. It matters to me. I'm not here to have a rock-solid opinion that I know it all. Just a guy with an opinion. I bring evidence, tape, and stuff like that. And I feel like we're at a bar or at each other's houses hanging out, and I'm listening to you, you'll listen to me. I'm going to do a better job of taking your thoughts and projecting them here because I really believe this is a team effort for all of us to arrive at a better evaluation on a team that we love a lot. So anyway, catch you next time. Want to say to subscribe. So subscribes and likes help us with the Google overlords. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. None of this would happen without them. They want to let you know that they're world-class software. You can get on the action. So much action going on. Friends, family, coworkers, anybody you know is a local bookie. They're the best. They take care of me. This is not going to happen. I'd be in the dark on a cell phone without them. They're the best. And you guys are the best. The two of you, you make this idiot monkey look good, and I appreciate that. Listen, catch you next time. Be well. Let's hope for some kind of miracle this week. Dolphins!